Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I am offering my sincere pranams to His Holiness Lingaikya Jagadguru Shri Shri Dr. Shivaratri Rajendra Mahaswamigalaru, seeking the blessings of His Holiness Jagadguru Shri Shivaratri Deshigendra Mahaswamigalaru, myself, Vishishta Nagraj, from the Department of Environmental Engineering, take this opportunity to welcome the speaker for today's session. Mrs. Priya H. Jagadish has done BCom, LLB, LLM, KSET and presently pursuing PhD in Karnataka State Level University in the area of corporate laws. She has got second rank in LLM in JSS Law College. She has participated in many training programs like an advocate in law courts, Mysore, for 2 years, participated in BLS and first aid training at BGS Apollo Hospital, Mysore. Madam has presented more than 75 papers relating to various aspects of law in international, national and state level seminars, conferences, workshops, and attended more than 90 seminars, conferences, workshops and training programs. She worked as assistant professor in Mahajana Law College and Shardavilas Law College, visited as a resource person to district training institutes and other colleges on various aspects of law. At present, she is working in JSS Law College as an assistant professor of law, chairperson of Prevention and Sexual Harassment Committee at JSS Law College. This session will be on gender equality and sustainability, challenges to gender equality and empowerment. I welcome you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all. Yes. Good. Yeah. Yes. See, Madam, she has given a very brief introduction about me, and I am here to tell you a few things about that sexual harassment of women at workplace, and I'll also carry a few things about the gender bias. Okay, yeah. Initially, let me tell you about that sexual harassment for women of women at workplace, which we have a particular legislation now, 2013 legislation. You people, you have joined recently, and you are below the age of 18 years, and we doesn't have any such legislation in that, and particular rules for the girls, those who comes under the sexual harassment. So they comes under the POCSO Act. Okay, so gender equality is very much needed in the college campus and the premises. And they are, especially women, girl students, they have to be protected their right, and they have to be given utmost liberty to exercise their rights. Like, for example, if we see the violation of a right of a girl students, that employer, like the college, they have to take all that initiation for the protection of a right for girl students in the campus. If we take the example of our JSS Law College itself, we have come out with a new scheme, a new cell called Women's Cell. So what we are doing there, we are organizing gender-based activities, especially for the girl students, and they have to make use of that opportunity, and they have lot of issues like health issues, or they have their own stress, or other issues are there relating to a girl students. So we will give we'll address them, and if they have such an issue, and we'll try to sort out all those issues which they have, which they are suffering, especially during their educational period. So the gender-based activities we are conducting, and we are providing them all the opportunities so that they can come out with all that, they can make use of that, and they can come out with their good educational provisions. And here, as I told, this sexual harassment that is especially applicable to the women who are working, and where they are, that is applicable to their working environment. And the child below the age of, girls below the age of 17 years, definitely they will be protected under the POCSO Act. I think you are all heard about that. Prevention of sexual harassment of, abuse of a girl child below the age of 18 years. And that is non-bailable offense. Okay, severe punishment will be given to the person who has committed, who comes under that POCSO Act. And the person who makes a sexual remark which is irritated to the girl child, which causes irritation to the girl student, they will also be punished, severely punished, and as I told, it is a non-bailable offense now. Okay, so if we start with this sexual harassment, as I told, now we have a particular legislation, 2013 legislation, but before that, slide. Okay. If I want to give a brief introduction about this, that sexual harassment, this this is not to be neglected actually. So every person, every woman, including girl students, they have to be protected in this particular legislation, and it is not a thing which is to be ignored. And we have to provide all the security and the safety for women, those who are working in the workplace, and those who are getting education also. And it is a legal requirement nowadays, because most of the cases are not, the cases are not coming in front of the public, and most of the women and then girls, they are hesitate to give a complaint against a person who cause irritation or who does all this misbehavior against the women. So that's what this thing, this sexual harassment will not be ignored at any cost. And I'll tell you some of the legal rules and regulations where the person is to be punished, how the action will be taken against to that person who has committed an offense, and what are the legal requirements are there, and what committee, how to constitute a committee. We have two important committees in that, that is Internal Complaint Committee and Local Complaint Committee. Internal Complaint Committee, that is compulsorily constituted in each and every organization. I don't know whether in your organization you have, yes, if you have, it's a very good thing that the complaint, if any such complaints are there, then that committee is going to handle that. And Local Complaint Committee, that comes under the district, each district they have to constitute that, and they are going to handle that issues which comes before them. So as I told, before this 2013, there were no such legislation regarding that prevention of sexual harassment, especially for protecting the rights of a woman. We have that guidelines. You have that remote? Okay. So this is the case where the Supreme Court, they have provided certain guidelines for the protecting the rights of a woman in the workplace. Vishaka case, Vishaka, it's a very famous case, and the landmark judgment was given in this case, and there the Supreme Court, they have given certain guidelines for protecting the rights of a woman. Okay, so here this was a case, Vishaka, she was she filed a complaint against employer who has committed a sexual harassment against that woman, and she has based on that, because before this case there were no such legislation. So that's what Supreme Court, they have given certain guidelines in that. And along with that, one more case, I think you are all aware of that, that is Delhi rape case, which was occurred during 2012. Delhi rape case also, it is a case where we have altered the definition of sexual harassment which we have given under the IPC. Sexual harassment definition itself has elaborated, and because in that Delhi rape case, one person that comes under the POCSO Act, below 17 years, and in order juvenile offender act what was going to affect them, and this is these two cases, especially in this Delhi rape case, Justice Verma committee was framed, and the committee has given certain recommendation based on the previous Vishaka case. So guidelines and the recommendations which were given by the judges in the Delhi rape case, we have come out with that legislation called Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace and then Prohibition and then Prevention Act. So that Prevention and then Prohibition Act, that is read with the rules called 2013 rules. We have rules as well as legislation to protect the rights of a woman at the workplace. Now, as I told, this is a very serious kind of offense. Still we have, so many cases where we have legislation, but still we have unable to control that act, illegal act which was, which is going on in the particular premises. Employer, they have to take a responsibility towards that, and the woman who has who is a victim, she has to come out with the, she has to file a complaint against that person, and she has to get the justice. So this is a rule or legislation which is going to protect the right of a woman, and we have that legislation preamble which is going to say about the right of a woman. I just elaborate on it. That is, this act is going to provide a protection of women against the sexual harassment at workplace, and this sexual harassment is subjected to punishment, and it is going to be a illegal offense, and that has to be taken into seriously. And first let me tell what is this sexual harassment. And the aggrieved woman, she has to give a complaint, and workplace, we have to understand here what is the meaning of workplace, because somewhere some people, they are working, comes under the permanent employee, or somewhere they may be a temporary employees. So if we take that permanent or temporary, or if they are working for management based employees also, they are all comes under the concept of this sexual harassment provision. And if we see that meaning of sexual harassment which is provided under section 2H of this legislation, sexual harassment, yes sir, please. So here, aggrieved woman is a woman who is visiting at workplace on regular basis, or they may be a temporary employee or daily basis employees, or they have engaged in directly or indirectly to a contract employment, or they may be a paid remuneration, or they may be a co-workers also. All those women employees, they comes under that concept of sexual harassment. And if we take that concept of workplace, it also includes, it also covers unorganized as well as organized sectors, government organizations, and then private sectors, hospitals, and even the sports institutions and dwelling houses. All those comes under the concept of workplace. And if we extend this workplace, office parties and even the off-site places also, the client meetings, if they go for outside for client meeting or training or traveling purpose, all this comes under the workplace, concept of workplace. And as I told, this section 2H is going to elaborate on the concept of sexual harassment. Okay, yes sir, next. Yes, sexual harassment is a coercion of sexual nature. If you make a sexually colored remarks which is going to irritate that woman, definitely it comes under, or that may be for promise or for any reward or for exchange of sexual favors. So that all comes under the meaning of sexual harassment. As I told, because of that Delhi rape case, we have elaborated and we have amended the provision of this definition of sexual harassment. If we see that definition, section 2H of that act, it speaks about the definition or meaning of sexual harassment. That is physical contact and then advances and then demand or request for sexual favors, or it may be related to a showing of colored remarks, sexually colored remarks, and then other offensive or derogatory pictures. That all comes under unwelcome physical contacts or non-verbal conduct of a person. It leads to a sexual harassment, and that is offensive in nature. And 3(2) of that 2013 Act, it is again elaborated by making an amendment in the year 2013 itself. It further defines the implied or explicit promise of any nature, or which is giving to a preferential treatment to a woman, or implied or explicit threat, or relating to their employment, or threat relating to the future or present employment, or creating interfering in the working of a woman, and then intimidating them, or offensive in creating a hostile work environment. That all comes under the sexual harassment. And then humiliating them by creating the hostile work environment, that also extended part of this definition. And if we see that the sexual harassment definition, humiliating treatment or causing humiliation to any woman who is working based on the temporary or permanent employment, that's also comes under. See, these are certain examples I want to give where it comes under, it falls under the particular definition. So as I told, sexual advances are making a or singing a song which is embracing in nature, film songs or other things, and then posing or cracking jokes which are which causes embarrassment, and then innuendos or making a discrimination on the basis of gender. See, generally we will see all this gender-based discrimination in the college campus also, like creating a hostile environment, or maybe relating to their education, or maybe anything. If any person makes a gender-based discrimination, then that also considered as a innuendos or posing of taunts. Okay, it's all offensive in nature. And then gender-based insults or remarks, and then unwelcome sexual taunts or any other manner which creates which is going to irritate a particular woman or girl, that also comes under the sexual harassment. Or hugging or touching or any such preferential manner, displaying the pornographic or other offensive derogatory pictures, cartoons, all these things. And then forcible physical touch, and then physical confinement against, with respect to women against her will. This is also a sexual harassment. Abusive authority of a power. Okay, so these are the things which will be which is going to constitute that comes under the particular definition, and it is all offensive in nature, sexual in nature, or subjective experience, or impact on which is going to affect the life of a particular or career of a particular woman. Then all that things comes under the definition part. And then workplace. What is this workplace means? As I told, the employee may be, woman employee may be temporary or permanent. Here, which involves the humiliating or unsafe environment, unhealthy environment, or discriminatory, or which is going to affect her career, or otherwise causing any adverse circumstances, that all falls under the concept of workplace, and that will be also be considered as a offensive. As I told, this is a criminal offense, and I'll tell you what are the punishment for that sexual harassment provision. And few IPC provision, it is going to tell you about the punishment under our section 354, which is going to assault or criminal force of to a woman, the term of imprisonment which is extended to 2 years, and with fine or sometime with both, that can be provided. 354 of IPC, it provides 2 years of imprisonment for doing assault or criminal force against a woman. And any person who makes or physical contact or advances unwelcoming things or explicit sexual taunts, then that falls under 354A of IPC, and they will be punished with punishment for 5 years and fine. Sometimes both may be provided to them. And under section 294, so obscene acts or songs, then punishment that may be for 3 months or fine sometimes with both. So as I told, that picture singing songs which are irritating in nature, which causes irritation to a woman, that falls under this category 294. And then 509, that is whoever intended to insult the modesty of women or cause insult to modesty of women, then they will be punished with a simple imprisonment which may be extended to 1 year or fine, sometimes with a fine. And 354B, it is 354B and 354A, they both are similar in nature, like assault or causing criminal force. So the punishment for imprisonment for which shall be not less than 3 years, but it may be extended to 7 years of imprisonment, and they are liable for fine also. And then voyeurism. Voyeurism is a concept which a man who watches a woman or captures images of a woman without her permission. Okay, so they are liable for punishment, that is term punished with the 3 years of imprisonment with fine, and for subsequent offense they will be punished with extended of again they are liable for imprisonment for 7 years of imprisonment, again with both fine and then punishment. Voyeurism is a very offensive in nature, and it is a private act, and whoever interfere in the private act of a woman, that will be punished under 354C of IPC. Okay, so the 354D, it talks about the any man who follows a woman or contacts a woman without her makes an attempt to contact a woman, that also be punished. And we are going to provide a punishment for first offense, that shall be a 3 years imprisonment, and fine also to be provided, and for subsequent offense also, second and subsequent offense, either description of 5 years of imprisonment or fine, both sometimes may be provided. Okay, so this is legal provisions we are going to protection we are going to provide to a woman who has aggrieved by that act. And victim, they can claim under this sexual harassment under the particular legislation, as well as IPC Act also going to provide protection to her. It's a criminal remedy she can claim, as well as civil remedy also she can claim under this. And we are going to constitute a committee relating to, I'll tell you about that particular committee, how to be constituted. First, let me tell you about this employer who has defined us. Employer, which comes under the maybe a central or state government or head of the officers who are specified, private workplace or dwelling houses, all are included in the employer. And then duties of the employer are, they have to provide a safe environment to the women who are working there, and display any such conspicuous place of workplace, and any such constitute internal committee is a mandatory committee, they have to be constituted there. and organize a workshop relating to the rights of a woman. As I told, especially the women's cell has to be constituted. It is a mandatory committee now, and that they have to protect the rights of women by going with the awareness program, conducting a awareness program, or by sensitizing the women relating to their rights, and provide a necessary facility if a woman files a complaint, if a girl files a complaint, and assistance has to be provided to them, and they have to if they want to provide any such witness, that witness has to be taken into consideration for inspection or any such other inquiries. And yes, so the employer shall, they have to create and communicate the details of the policy, what they have come out with in the college or in the particular campus, and they have to create awareness and then orientation relating to that issues, and they have to constitute a committee, as I told, internal complaint committee, so thing which is to be mandatorily constituted, and ensure that complaints committee has to be trained and then skill capacity. So they have to provide a proper recommendations, and they have to come out with the policy, and they have to encourage the student, they have to provide all the facility to the students relating to that matter. Prepare an annual report, that is very essential, and they have to submit that annual report to the district officer. And director report, report in the director report, they have to submit that report annually. Without, if they have nil report has to be submitted. So here the two important committees has to be framed, that is internal complaint committee and then local complaint committee. Okay, so internal complaint committee, so that is each branch they have to be constituted, women working in that particular place, senior woman has to be nominated as a chairperson, and then 2 members, those who are well versed in that particular field, those who are having knowledge and then experience in the social work, and then 1 member from the NGOs, and then association, any such association who are doing in that particular field, they have to be nominated here. And then local inspection committee, complaint committee, that falls under the district officer. I think that is not needed for you people, but internal complaint committee is a mandatory committee here. And complaint, how it is to be handled. Initially, if the complaint come before, that is thoroughly prepared, and the act, they are going to gather relevant information relating to that. They have to record the information and determine the main issues relating to the complaint, and they have to prepare a relevant interview and then questions relating to that, conduct a necessary interviews, and they have to analyze the information and prepare a report by finding, and they have to make a recommendations relating to that. And maintaining the confidentiality is very essential, and they have to be impartial whenever they are doing all these inquiries. And clinical inquiries also be conducted, and somewhere they can go with the compromising also. So education and awareness is very essential here. Policy of the employer is very essential, how they are going to frame the policies for the protection of the rights of a girl or the woman, and that has to be properly communicated, and they have to carry out that awareness and then orientation program, and then ensure the capacity and then skill building for the complaints committee. Whenever they are making any such committees, that skill, the women who is having a particular knowledge, they have to be given a prominence, and at any cost, the girl or woman who makes a complaint, they are not to be neglected. All that support will be given, and if that offense is proved, the person who has committed an offense, if it is proved guilty, then all this punishment, as I told under the IPC 354, that will be going to affect them. And then complaint mechanisms, any such complaints which is given by a woman, that they have to give in writing, and they have to mention that name, date, and then address, the kind of offense what the person has committed, and all this information has to be, detailed information has to be given in the complaint, and whenever that committee, internal complaint committee, they receive a complaint, within 3 months from the date of incident, they have to receive this complaint. They have to go with the acting towards that. And the time limit for extending that three months, that that depends upon the discretion of a particular chairman. If they find it is a reason to be recorded, then they can extend the time limit beyond the 3 months also. After the 3 months also, they can give a complaint relating to that sexual harassment. And then here, who can give a complaint? Not only that a woman who has a victim aggrieved by that, they can give a complaint. Any other person on behalf of a woman, her relative or her friend or special educator or qualified psychologist, guardian, anybody, they can give a complaint on behalf of a particular aggrieved person. And then if they are physically incapable or incapacity, then again their relatives, co-friend or guardian or any other officer or even the state officer or the National Commission for Women, they can take a initiation for filing a complaint on behalf of a aggrieved person. So here, how the complaint has to be given. See, this is also applicable to issues relating to colleges also. Especially the boys. See here, some person, they are laughing. Okay, so be careful when you are making any such sexually based remark against your girlfriends. Okay, so I'm not telling you cannot have a girlfriend in the colleges or in the premises, but whenever you are having the contact or whenever you are mingling with the girl students, okay, if any such of your act which is going to irritate that girl student, okay, so that definitely it comes under the concept of this sexual harassment. As I told, it's not a, I mean, below the age of 18 years, then it comes under the POCSO Act. Again, it is very severe offense. And if it is above 18 years, all the students, because first years they are always below the 17 years, I think. They'll come from PU and they are below the age of 17. So if they cross 18 years, definitely they can make a complaint, and whenever they are filing a complaint, the date and the name of a convener, so details, time, location, everything has to be communicated, everything has to be detailed, I mean they have to mention in detail. Okay, so and then complaint mechanisms. So whenever we will receive a complaint, within 30 days they have to file a complaint, and after receiving a complaint, a committee, they have to go with acting towards that committee, they have to take a further steps. Okay, so immediately within a reasonable time limit, but not later than 7 working days, the working days time limit we are going to provide them. So the written complaint, and again they have to go with the giving of information to the aggrieved person, because against whom the girl or lady has given a complaint, that has to be communicated. So within 7 days they have to take all that initiation, and ICC, they have to investigate the complaint, and they have to submit a report containing the findings as well as recommendation with relevant documents. And in conducting the inquiry, minimum 3 members should be there, including the chairperson, and they have to take all that initiation for conducting of inquiries. And upon the receipt of a complaint, they can go with the reviewing of, or the information has to be given to another party, I mean respondent. The respondent has to be given an information within 10 days. Okay, so the complaint has to be somewhere, if it is possible to go with the settlement or conciliation, then that step also be taken into, I mean they can also go with the conciliation or the settlement of that issues. Okay, and then conciliation proceedings, somewhere they can go with a verbal warning or counseling or educating a person or appointing a neutral conciliator to resolve that issues, or whatever that steps they will take, they have to record in writing all that conciliation procedure, and it is the duty of the employer, especially the complaint committee members, chairman and then 2 members, they have to take all this initiation. Okay, and then inquiry that is to be initiated, and interview has to be conducted, like the listing of events or facts findings. If they want to give any such documents or witnesses relating to that, that inquiry has to be completed, and they have to take all that measures. The reasonable opportunity has to be given to other party. Impartial inquiry has to be conducted relating to this. Inquiry process, definitely they have to follow all these natural justice principles. I think whether you are aware of that or not. Natural justice means we have to give opportunity to a other person. Only from, hearing from one party and neglecting the other person, it is not a natural justice process. When the complaint has been received from one girl student or from a woman employee, the other person also be given an opportunity to speak about that. Okay, so here the confidentiality has to be maintained, and legal practitioners definitely not permitted to involve in all these issues. And if they want to take out, go with the settlement or conciliation process, they can go with the conciliation. And committee, they have to adhere with the natural justice. They have to observe the natural justice principle. Hearing, nobody can be condemned without being heard. That is, other party has to be given an opportunity, and then judge must be impartial whenever they are giving the judgment. And interim measures, definitely they can take, like restraining the respondent from not to interfere, because they may cause another problem. Okay, so once the complaint has been filed, they have to be taken all the precautionary measures. So they have to prevent ongoing sexual harassment, and return request of the woman has to be taken into consideration. Writing her confidential report, appraisal, or supervising her academic activity, everything has to be taken into consideration. And recommendations, if the allegations has to be proven successfully, then disciplinary actions relating to their service matters, or withholding their promotion, or withholding of pay, or increments, or counseling sessions, or community services, what they were doing, or termination of their services. All these actions relating to their service can be taken. And then false or malicious statements. Somewhere I am not telling that only the victim who has, the person who has given a complaint, they are always genuine. Somewhere they can give a false statement or malicious complaint. So when they give the false or malicious statement, then they are also to be punished, and their inquiry has to be conducted. If the complaint committee, they have come out with the conclusion that witness has given a wrong statement or wrong evidence relating to that, then it may be the recommendations can be cancelled. Whatever the complaint they have given, that may will be nullified, and against the particular woman, the action may be taken by the employer. So this is the timeline. As I told, within 3 months they have to submit a complaint, and within 7 days of receiving the complaint, they have to go with the acting towards that. Within 90 days of complaint, inquiry has to be completed. After completion of an inquiry, submission of report to the local inspection committee or internal complaint committee. Within 10 days, that recommendation has to be given, and implementation of the recommendations, within 60 days they have to implement that recommendations. That service taking all that necessary steps, lawful steps against the person, against the offender, that all they have to take within 60 days. And appeal or provision is also there if they want to go for appeal against the ICC recommendation or ICC decision, then within 90 days they can go for appeal. Okay, so the confidentiality is, maintaining of confidentiality is very essential here. So information, action that is to be taken against the particular offender, or the steps which are taken by the employer, all these are very essential part. Information pertaining to this conciliation or inquiry proceedings, recommendation, everything has to be properly maintained by the employer of that institution. So if they doesn't make any such recommendation, or if they fail to maintain the confidentiality or fail to make a policy or recommendation, so the consequence of it, 5,000 rupees. The service rules, as per the service rules, 5,000 rupees to be collected by the employer. And monitoring process, that is also submission of annual report is important. Somewhere they can submit a nil report also. Inspection has to be conducted and mentioned in the director report relating to the cases. So all these mandatory action that is to be taken by the employer of the institution. And non-compliance of the report, as I told, this is a penal consequence. The penalty of 50,000 rupees that will be put on the particular institution, or fails to constitute ICC or internal complaint committee, fails to make on recommendation, then if they fail to file an annual report, they are liable for these penal consequences. And in the event of repeated offense or repeated breach, they will be twice then higher than the punishment, like 50,000 rupees we have given here. So twice then the penalty they will be put, and conciliation proceedings that has to be cancelled. The conciliation, that withdrawn or non-renewal of license, every action can be taken against the employer. And appeal process we have provided here. And if we go for this summary, here this the policy that has to be effectively ensured, effectively done, and communicated to all the workers, and even to irrespective of their paid or voluntary employees. As I told in the beginning, it is applicable to the women who are working, as well as based on that temporary or the permanent basis. And then giving of details regarding that information, policy, recommendations, where the institution has come out, all these details has to be given to a particular worker. And then orientation program relating to that, and the workplace sexual harassment for women at workplace, that has to be conducted by the organization, and orientation relating to that is very important. And complaints committee, they have to be very cautious relating to that. If any such complaints are filed, they have to take they have to go with the primary measures relating to primarily they have to go with the curtailing of all those illegal things. And later, if they receive any such complaints, then they have to appoint a trained or skilled employees, and they have to handle a case. In camera proceedings has to be conducted, and then confidentiality has to be maintained. And encourage senior persons, leaders, supervisors, or any person who has influenced by the employment or related decisions, and they have to become a role model to everyone. And the men and women, they should be included in the building a culture which is no longer tolerate a workplace of the sexual women. So sexual harassment in overall things is illegally prohibited. And relating to your gender based activities, gender based offenses, so this is also especially under Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. What we are going to provide is equality before law, and then equal protection of law, right? Equality before law means law has to protect equally, and the citizens of this country has to be treated equally, irrespective of their caste, creed, sex, or place of birth. Whenever we'll go for employment, public employment, or when we are using the public places also, gender-based discrimination is totally prohibited. Okay, we cannot make any such discrimination based on their place or based on their sex, caste, creed, or religion. We cannot make any such discrimination, and that is provided under Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Somewhere we have provided exceptions also. I think you are all aware of that exceptions, like the women category, and then persons who are handicapped, or the person who are coming from backward region, they are all provided the special status, and they are provided a special position by the constitution. Except those things, all people, all citizens of this country has to be treated equally. And even in the case of public employment, which is provided under Article 16, whenever we are applying for public employment, state should not make any such discrimination. So the maybe a state public service commission or the union public service commission, whenever they are providing the employment public opportunity, in the case of employment, all the persons, they have to be treated equally. And exceptions are there, like handicapped person, women category, and then persons who are coming from backward region, they will be provided exceptional circumstances. So these gender-based discrimination is also prohibited under the constitution, and that is illegal according to, that is to be punished under the act itself. So be careful. And anti-ragging, madam, she has not communicated to me that anti-ragging provision, but still I want to tell something about this anti-ragging issues. Anti-ragging is also a illegal thing, prohibited thing, which cannot be carried out in the particular organization or the institution. So you people, you have joined recently, newly joined students, you have to focus on your studies, and you have to see for the betterment of your career. Instead of that, if you go for any such illegal or anti-ragging thing, if you do all this illegal activities or anti-ragging, then definitely your career is going to affect from that, and that anti-ragging is also a punishable offense. Okay, please don't carry all these things. You please concentrate on your education, and career is very important more than all these things. Okay, so this is what I want to convey with respect to this sexual harassment. And please be careful relating to all your activities in the college premises. That may be by a employer, or that may be by a boys or even girls. They should be aware of that, that if they give any such false or malicious statement or misleading statement, they are also be punished, or their action to be taken against them. Okay, so this is what I want to say, and I would like to thank all the organizers for giving me the opportunity to tell you a few words relating to this sexual harassment provision. If you have any queries or doubts, okay, so if you have any such, if you want to get any such information relating to this, maybe relating to your anti-ragging provisions, okay, you can get the clarification, and I'm ready to give you clarification. Do you have any queries or any such questions?
Any questions you can ask, ma'am.
Anybody? Because no, I told you are, madam, she has told it's an induction program. Okay, so in the induction program, we have to give certain awareness to you people relating to all these issues. Anti-ragging is totally prohibited. Okay, don't carry out all those things. And sexual harassment also, and then your other related activities in the college premises. Any doubts? No
if you
doubts.
want to ask any question,
No.
you can ask me now. Any questions?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
It was very informative, ma'am. It gave the insight on human rights, laws, rules, and regulations related to women harassment at workplace, quoting some important cases and acts. On behalf of Student Induction Program, one second. We have a question, ma'am. You made the public aware about their rights regarding sexual harassment, but what if it has been misused by the victim to falsely accuse offenders?
See, that's what I told. If any such false or malicious statement or wrong statement, wrong evidence it may be, if that is given by the victim, okay, so that is also to be taken into consideration, and the committee, internal complaint committee, if they have proved that the woman or the victim here she has given a wrong complaint or wrong evidences or false or misleading evidences against the person, then definitely action will be taken, and all that service rule, curtailment of service rule, and the curtailing their, withholding their increment, everything, every action, it is left to the discretion of a particular committee as well as the employer. Definitely they can take a action whatever they want if they have found this kind of false or misleading statement. Okay, so that provision is also there. I am not telling the victim, women who has given a complaint, all these are they have given a genuine complaint. That will be considered as a genuine complaint. So that's what we'll do. Initially, we will go for inquiring all those complaints in a provision. So we will take evidence, we'll go for conducting of inquiry. If it is proved only, that punishment will be given against to them. Punishment will be given to that particular person, offender. Okay. Yes.
On behalf of Student Induction Program and students, I especially thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Group 4 students, you stay back. Okay. We have some instructions regarding the tomorrow's session, and also some names have to be added. Okay, and we have to take the attendance. Just wait for a few minutes after session.
Excuse me. Those who got admitted late, you can enroll your names and put your signatures. And we will assign the group also today only. So please stay back here. And rest of you, you can leave afterwards. And then tomorrow the session will start at 10. Be here at least 20 minutes before. Here in the sense your venue, whatever the venue